Hey everybody, welcome back to the show.
Hi.
Today we are going to be talking about Phantom of the Open. No, it's not a horror film about an opera. It is about a golfer, one of the worst golfers ever put to film, one of the worst golfers ever put to life. Yeah. And we're going to break down this uniquely odd sports film today. Welcome back to the show. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Goethe from GoatFilmReviews.com.
I'm Nick from the St. Paul Filmcast. Thanks for finding us. Thanks for watching. And for our Loa fans, thank you for continuing to support the show. Another way you can support the show is through Patreon. Check that out for some great content, great deals, and opportunities to tell us what movies we can talk about in future episodes. Also, Kyle and I are members of the Minnesota Film Critics Alliance. Check out that webpage for critics' reviews as well as ours. And today we're talking about Phantom of the Open.
All right, The Phantom of the Open is the stranger-than-fiction tale of golf legend Maurice Flitcroft, known as the worst golfer in history. When Maurice expects to lose his job, he picks a new one, golf, but he's never played before. When he ends up playing in the British Open, he angers the golfing professionals who feel he's making a mockery of the sport. With Phantom of the Open, we have a screenplay from Simon Farnaby and Scott Murray. Farnaby is the person I'm most familiar with. He appeared just recently in the films like Wonka, Paddington 2. He's also done some writing and performing with the BBC series Ghost, which was so popular that it got an American remake just a few years ago. He's known for being kind of a quirky writer, and I definitely think this is a quirky screenplay. In the lead of the role, we have Mark Rylance, who I believe was an Academy Award winner for Bridge of Spies, if I'm correct.
This came out afterwards of Bridge of Spies. He also in Ready Player One. It's based on a true story of somebody just submitted into the British Open, and I think it was like late 70s before I was born.
Yeah. So, he plays Maurice, who basically decides, I'm just going to play golf. Maurice as a character reminds me a lot of Ed Wood, specifically how Johnny Depp played Ed Wood in the 90s film. Very much like I didn't do great this time, but my next attempt will be better.
Yeah. And I thought it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's got a certain level of cuteness to it that I really appreciated. I also like anything that has Sally Hawkins in it, even if she's only in one scene in some films. But she plays, of course, Jean Flitcroft. You will recognize Sally Hawkins from her Fish Love film, The Shape of Water. Mm-hmm. As well as her turn again also in the aforementioned Paddington films. They have a really nice chemistry together. I really appreciated Maurice and Jean's love affair.
I really have nothing. I mean, it's a good comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. Yeah, it hit the right notes. It's kind of it's about. The whole theme of the movie, you'll catch it right away. Mm-hmm. It's about just take a chance on something, and if you feel miserable, at least you tried. And that's the whole point of the movie. Even if you make a ridiculous point. And obviously, you are dealing with a character, Maurice, who, he plays it really wonderfully well. Mm-hmm. Who definitely has flaws, because eventually when he's, kicked out of the system, he tries to wheedle his way through different aliases to get back into play. He's a little bit of a showman, and I think once he gets that showmanship, he doesn't want to get that away. And he has one thing, is he's a bad golfer. Mm-hmm. So if he's going to practice at it, well, then it's going to make you good. But then he tells people practice makes perfection. Well, he doesn't really want to practice because you don't want to really be good at it because you lose your gimmick.
Yeah, he certainly has a level of getting less bad as the film goes on. I'm never going to say he gets good, but he gets less bad. But he does have that kind of pervasive view of life that I think gets into his twin sons and their disco addiction, in the sense that he says, well, you can make disco a job, which I don't really believe, but it's something where he has that clash with his oldest son, who's adopted, basically, not his biological son, who has kind of taken on the idea that I need to find something that's going to make me money and be successful, even if I'm not altogether happy about it.
And this is how to talk about comedy. It's hard because you're the judge. If you don't think it's funny, then we're right. I don't know what else to say to it. I really like it.
Yeah, I really appreciated Rhys Ifans. I think when he shows up in any film, he's usually a bit of likable evilness. He's recently been on House of the Dragon, where he's quite evil, but he kind of can run the range. When I see him in films, I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring to the table. I like him playing an anti-nemesis kind of character, because this is such a light comedy that it's nice to see him kind of bring his villainy back a few steps as well.
Right. And they have a wonderful bit of him just shooting golf blind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just not really sure where he's going to go.
And I don't want to tell you more, because then you ruin the whole thing for you if you haven't seen it yet.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, but I do think it's definitely worth checking out. It's got a great secondary cast of characters. I think most of the people moving in and out of Maurice's life.
And I don't think people from America know about it more than people from Britain probably know more about the story than we do.
Yeah, I didn't even really know about the American elements that are integrated in the film, especially near the third act. I didn't know about a lot of this kind of stuff. That's why I actually left the theater for this movie. I was completely empty theater in the afternoon. No one had told me about this movie. I just saw that it had really great reviews and wanted to check it out. But I left the theater and my first thought was, there's no way this is true. And I started looking up things and researching things. It kind of reminded me of my reaction to Black Klansman. When I saw it, was like, no, there's no way. Oh my God. And just kind of having that mind part opened up to me very, very well.
Just like a previous episode, we critique fiction about the logistics of it, and if there's too many cliches. And for things that are based on true story, we critique it. How is that possible?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed the movie, though. I think it's a cute little film. I would say it makes a great double feature with Eddie.
I don't think a lot of people know about it either.
No, and that's why I'm happy to see. I think it's streaming on Amazon right now. I'm happy to see that because I don't think this is a movie that I would have blind purchased. But having seen it, it's one that I do consistently recommend to people who are in that kind of Paddington Wonka mood, where they just need something that's going to raise their spirits.
And it's an interesting note. I don't know if you can want to see the movie and don't want to know about it. But I do like the ending is not the overall success story. It's not the happy ending that we think it is. It's just a journey that things don't actually turn out well for him even afterwards.
Yeah, this is definitely more about a character journey than a straightforward plot. The plot is the character in the film as opposed to specific events that happen. And I think when you focus on one character, you've got to make that one character really work. And I think that's a combination of Rylance's performance as well as
I love this. He's definitely this character that gets fixated on something immediate, and then he stays with it to all the way down. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I have a kid. Well, that's it. I'm going to marry you. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do right. And then this journey of I live in this place, and then, well, I'm going to be this. That's the way it is. Yeah.
I wish I could make choices like Maurice Flitcroft. I've been thinking about getting a tattoo for 22 years.
Yeah.
And haven't gotten around to it yet.
It's almost like he's stuck on. He doesn't really stick on the idea. It's all like he's sold on the idea. I do kind of like the whimsical idea of him, this fantasy knock on the head, this epiphany he gets. Anytime he gets epiphany, they kind of do him with like this Coen Brothers in a Big Lebowski, this exotic stages and kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah, the weird sequence, where he's walking up the green. Up to the giant T that's there, and then kind of rotates around the Earth, which turns it's a weird dream sequence. It's one of the parts of the film where I actually don't remember that until I rewatch it, because the film just feels like this kind of fever dream to me. But yeah, the dream sequences are unique and odd, maybe out of place, but
I do like it. It just reminds you it's a movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's certainly something that kind of whimsy's out of control, if you might say.
Right. Yeah, and of course you got the signature hat. I love it. I don't know if he wore that hat for real, but it fits for the movie.
I think one image near the end of the film when they show the real life pictures and stuff looks like that one a little bit. But yeah, it's a choice.
Right. I don't know if it's a movie I would go back again to see. My father-in-law is an avid golfer. He kind of about it. But I think
did you know the story at all, or
I don't. His memory is not. He's 85 years old, so. But right, it's kind of, I don't know if I would go back to it, but I enjoy the experience of watching it. And it's not the slapstick, it's just the kind of the awkwardness of the whole thing, right?
Yeah, there's a certain level of, I don't want to say British humor to it, where there is a dryness to the comedy. Yeah. And I think if I were trying to compare it to something people might be aware of in America, it might be closer to something like The Office or Arrested Development, where it's kind of that, it's not guffaw funny, but it's kind of that cute funny or that dryness humor that kind of rubs people the wrong way sometimes.
Right, and his signature, getting rid of cigarettes. This one has the right amount of smoking for a movie that took place in the 70s.
That's fair. So. You could learn something late night with the devil. We enjoyed you, but are we advocating for more smoking?
Right. So, what do you think of our critique of Phantom of the Open?
Yeah, let us know in the comments section what you thought about the film, and maybe give us your favorite lesser seen sports film. We may choose to follow up on another episode of
There's another one. There's a hockey one that just came out about a guy starting a beer dad league, and it's this guy who takes it way too serious. So
yeah, it sounds like my life.
Sounds very Minnesotan, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Taking beer leagues way too serious.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us so very much. You can find all of my film reviews over at goatfilmreviews.com.
And you can find my show, the St. Paul Filmcast, anywhere you find podcasts.